I got involved and started sports with Scott at about 4 years old, and that was in T-ball. And I was a T-ball coach, and I had both the boys playing for me. As he came up through school, he participated in whatever sports were available. He went to Brennan High School, and at Brennan, the coaches got a hold of him there, and they saw his potential.
Well, I coached high school track in Windsor, and I also coached club track. And so Scott was one of those athletes that his high school coach spoke to me and said he would be interested in spending some extra time working for summer track to do some extra javelin, discus. He threw both. And so I watched him throw, and happy to have him. You see this sort of, at that time, really tall, lanky young man who you could tell really liked what he was doing.
Scott asked me to give him a lift out to Essex. There was a meet out in Essex, and I said, sure, I'll go along. And he says, you want to go back home? And I says, no, I'll stay, I'll watch, So I sat there and watched, and it was kind of the first two first place finishes that he had. The old discus kind of wobbled out there across the field, but he finished first in both discus and javelin.
He was a multi-sport athlete. I know in juniors he played football and basketball and did track. And he started getting a little banged up during football season, and so when he couldn't do that, he didn't want to just concentrate too much on the other two, so he actually played volleyball, and he was fantastic. I don't think there was anything he touched that he wasn't talented in, so you take a big, skilled guy and put him in almost any sport with the type of hard work and dedication that Scott always showed, he was going to be successful whatever he chose. His high school coach, Ken Ouellette, and then I coached him, and then when we were looking for a place for him to go to start university, he ended up at the University of Kansas, and it was a former Windsor coach, Laurie Leroux, who was also inducted into the Hall of Fame. So he went Windsor, Windsor, Windsor through coaches, and then when Laurie left Kansas, of course, he had Doug Reynolds after that, and he had some other coaches, but I mean, early, I think there was a ton of influence of Windsor in his development.
They announced they were going to have the World Track and Field Championships at Edmonton. It was really super great to see him break the Canadian record in front of 45,000 Canadians on a Friday night in Edmonton at Commonwealth Stadium. So that was a really big thrill for me. He did really well in the Olympics, and I followed it all the way through. He was always very coachable and always a leader. He always did extra things and tried to help others around him. He made it better for those other athletes that were competing with them.
It's gratifying as a coach to see who they become, and Scott's not only a great athlete, but he's become a really great person.
He likes this honor mainly because of the people in the city of Windsor and surrounding environment who helped him along the way. Coaches, other athletes, supporters, the whole 9 yards.
The culture of track here in Windsor is fantastic, and I think that's always been something that at the bottom of the pyramid, if you will, for Scott, and it's been a good base and always a good place to come home to, so I think it means a lot.
I'm very proud. It's really an honor to be acknowledged in your home county and home city, and that's certainly what Scott has expressed to me, is that it's an honor to have this happen, so he's really pleased with that.